You haven't cared about me for years and now you show up for money. I stand at the door of the lawyer's office. I hold my grandmother's will in my hand. My parents stand beside me. Their smiles look deliberately warm. Dad pats my shoulder. Mom gently holds my hand. I can feel their body heat. But not their care. I'm wearing a dark blue suit. It's the one Grandma picked for my job interview. Their clothes are expensive and spotless. They smell like perfume. Mom tries to close the distance between us. I step back slightly to keep space. Dad frowns. His eyes move impatiently behind me. The lawyer leads us into the conference room. The wooden table reflects a cold shine. My parents sit on both sides of me eagerly. Like they're closing in. I grip the documents tightly. A wave of tension runs through me. The lawyer begins explaining the structure of Grandma's estate and reads the terms aloud. When my parents hear $5 million and the value of the house, their eyes light up. Mom holds her breath. Dad straightens his posture. His eyes turn sharp. Dad leans toward me and whispers, "Follow us, we'll handle everything." Mom adds, "You're too young to understand these things." I clench my fists. My anger grows quietly inside. The lawyer plays Grandma's recorded video message. The screen lights up. Her face fills the room. She says, "I know your parents might show up because of money. They've ignored you for years. But they'll try to interfere now that I'm gone." She talks about how they went bankrupt multiple times. How they wasted money and failed at investments. My parents' faces turn stiff with embarrassment. Mom starts wiping her tears. Dad's face darkens. He tries to defend himself. But his voice is hollow. Grandma explains how she created a trust to protect my inheritance. The trust requires me to complete financial education before I can access the full amount. The trust forbids gifting or lending more than $10,000 to my parents. I sit there. Tears well up in my eyes. My parents try legal threats and emotional pleas to change the trust terms. I calmly read every clause out loud, leaving them speechless. I place the lawyer's bankruptcy records and phone logs on the table. Their faces turn from anger to pale fear. I look them straight in the eyes and say, "I won't let you touch this inheritance." This isn't an argument. It's a boundary. A boundary I must set. Mom tries to cry and explain the past. I ignore her. Dad's rage boils over. His hands clench his jacket. But he can't change the facts. The lawyer quietly records every statement I make. I declare, "We can have a relationship. But it will not involve money." Their faces twist with anger. They stand up. Their frustration obvious. But they can't do anything. The meeting ends. They leave the room. Cold air and silence remain. I go home. I reread Grandma's notes and investment records. I take financial courses. I study trusts and investment strategies. Every calculation, every decision, gives me a deeper sense of control. My parents start calling constantly, trying to manipulate me and my friends. I stay silent. I don't respond to their harassment. They even show up at my apartment door. I don't open it. Instead, I arrange to meet them at a neutral restaurant. They walk in full of confidence, thinking they can talk me into giving up Grandma's plan. I invite them to sit. I keep my distance. I calmly state, the trust structure cannot be changed. The inheritance will be executed exactly as Grandma designed. Mom tries to soften me with a gentle tone. Dad pitches investment ideas. I pull out documents and lay out every record of their bankruptcies and past attempts to access the inheritance. Their faces go pale with fear. Their words stumble. I make it clear. The boundaries are firm. All financial discussions are off limits. They fall silent. Their hands tremble. They finally face their own failures. I remain composed. I explain how I'll use the funds. I set up scholarships and responsible investments. I follow Grandma's wishes and grow the inheritance. My parents realize their scheme has completely failed. Their eyes are full of fear. I know. This is the start of my independence. I stop needing their approval or interference. I feel the power of owning my life. I understand that boundaries are the strongest shield. Months pass. I keep learning about investing and managing the trust. I pay off my student loans. I improve my living conditions. I create a scholarship fund for underprivileged students. My parents occasionally send apology emails. They admit their mistakes and respect my boundaries. I reply cautiously, keeping the relationship healthy, but never involving money. My life becomes stable. Investment returns grow. Students benefit and thrive. I realize Grandma gave me more than wealth. She gave me judgment and independence. I often visit her grave, lay down yellow roses, tell her I'm keeping my promise. I've learned how wealth magnifies human nature, and how boundaries protect me. I use knowledge and education to carry out Grandma's vision, creating positive impact. My parents' greed and weakness are fully exposed. Their fear and begging prove fairness works. I stand on my principles. I own my independence and strength. I keep teaching. I help students expand their horizons. I live simply, but my finances are free and secure. I stay calm under pressure. I can separate truth from manipulation. Grandma's wisdom helps me spot control and deceit in a crisis. I use every resource the right way, not to feed their greed. I set my own life rules and boundaries. I stay clear-headed in conflict. I manage every dollar with purpose. I make sure Grandma's will is carried out. I find balance between education and investing. Their fear and failure become the proof of my confidence. I see human nature clearly. Greed never wins against principles. In financial and spiritual freedom I find peace. I feel Grandma's presence and wisdom guiding me still. I keep learning and moving forward. I don't let outside noise shake me. In class I share my story. I encourage my students to think independently. In investing I act carefully. I let assets grow steadily. I use wealth as a tool, not a trophy. I understand power comes with responsibility. Every decision has consequences. I combine education and investment, so Grandma's values live on. Their interference is shut out. My boundaries are secure. I grow stronger each day. I stay rational in the face of temptation and threats. I turn wisdom into action. I build long-term value. I face family conflict with logic, not emotion. Every decision I make can stand the test of time. My life is structured and fulfilling. I use my resources for good, to support students and public causes. I'm no longer chained to the past. I focus only on the future. I know independence is the foundation of both wealth and freedom. Grandma's wisdom keeps me steady in every storm. I use every resource for constructive goals. I find balance and satisfaction in education and finance. My actions prove the value of responsibility and independence. I stand by my principles. I don't let the past decide my future. I know my goals and my boundaries. I live simply, but with full financial and mental freedom. I grow steadily as an investor, and pass on values as an educator. Their fear and desperation only highlight the power of fairness. I stand firm. I own my life and my future. I guard my wealth with wisdom. I spread value with action. This is the end of the story. I have wealth. I have independence. I have boundaries. I have freedom.